Hello everyone, it's Michael from SmartSuite-Library, and today we're going to be doing search or discovery. Now, anybody can search any library system. It should be very simple. If it's not simple, then maybe you need to think about getting a different library system or a new one. Okay, so searching is very easy. So the first part of this session is explaining what differentiates SmartSuite-Library search from all the other library systems out there in the marketplace. We believe we are incredibly powerful and radical in the library space. Now, what normally happens with all library systems, including the one you've got, I can guarantee, when you do a search, so I'm just going to search for cat, what they normally do is they will bring up the resources of all the material that has the word cat in it. Now, some of our competitors peddle that if you have a library landing page that gives them all kinds of buttons everywhere and all kinds of information everywhere, that people will flock to your library will be packed. Nothing can be further from the truth. And like most marketing, it's just to get their hands on your dollars. The library is totally different. Library systems are totally different. And the reason why there has been a decline on students and teachers in particular using the school's library system is simply because it does not give them what they want. They don't want to do a search of cat and get all the material you have on cat sorted in some kind of predefined library order or predefined librarian's order. Okay, the students of today and the teachers of today are very Google-fied, okay? And what we mean by that is they know that when they go to Google and they search for something on Google, let's choose cat. What they're going to get based on their history of interaction, let's get over all the advertising that's on the system, but based on their history of searching and based on everybody else's history on searching, what the system will do, what Google will do, it will bring up everything that's relevant to whatever term they put on here. And that is why search engines like Yahoo became obsolete almost overnight, because people go, I love Google. I love the fact that I can get what's relevant up the top. And if that doesn't suit me, I can go and just get the next page and the next page and the next page of what's relevant. Okay, and you eventually go and you look at some pages in Google and you go, why have I got this particular page here? And it's got nothing to do with cat. And that's because it is relevant. It's just not as relevant as the very first page that you put on the system. And what we do with SmartSuite, we do exactly the same. Okay, so when a student or a teacher searches for cat, what we would do is we would say to the system, give me every bibliographic record that has the word cat or cats in it. And we don't care if it's in the call number or the title or the subject or the series or whatever. Just get me a list of all those records. Now, when it gets the list, we'll pretend that there is 10,000 in the list. It says, all right, I don't want to put these 10,000 books up here in a sorted sequence of alphabetic by title. Totally irrelevant. So now, out of those 10,000, give me all the books that have cat in the subject. And I'll say, well, that's 5,000. We say, that's fantastic. So now we're becoming a little bit more relevant. Then we'll say, give me all the books that have cat in the series. And say, oh, in that case, well, there's now 2,000. And then we turn around and say, all right, now out of those 2,000, give me all the books that have cat in another area of the bibliographic record. And we might come down to 500. Then we'll say, the last thing we'll do is we'll say, give me all the books that out of these 500 that have cat in the notes area. And the books that have cat mentioned more frequently in the notes area, elevate them up the top of the list, and the ones that are less frequently, put them at the bottom of the list. And that's how we derive at what's relevant. And then we also have a look at who else has done a search and who else has edited records and what's new, and we put that all in the mix, and that is why you'll get a relevancy search. Now that is powerful searching. It's not just giving you an automated list. Now we understand librarians do not like a relevancy list because traditional librarians have been trained on looking at their collection based on certain sort sequences. So we have a solution for traditional librarians as well. Also, librarians, and bearing in mind the search screen needs to address the requirement of the librarian who knows her collection and the requirement of a total alien person who knows nothing about the collection but wants resources based on particular topics or words or phrases. So if a librarian said, all right, that's all very well and good, but I know it was called The Cat in the Hat, or it was called Cat and Mike's Dream, or whatever. So if you know the title, you can say, I want this word in the title. I do not want a smart search. I want cat in the title. So if that's what you want, just click on search, and now it's going to give you a totally different result set. And these are all the books that have cat in the title, and then based on a certain weighting as well. And you can say, oh no, I want cat in the subject, and you go and do a search, and that'll do cat in the subject. And if you turn around and say, all right, well, I'm a librarian, I know that, except I know it had the word cat in the title and it also had cat in the subject. How can I combine it? Well, if you want to be very specific, more than have the system do a weighted search, so I'm talking about a librarian or library staff member who understands and knows what they've put in the bibliographic record, so therefore they want to go deep into it, you can have the opportunity of clicking the advanced search button. In the advanced search button, it says the subject has to be equal to cat, okay, and you can go, it has to match that word, it's got to start with that, it has to contain that, okay, we just go cat, and with title also equal to cat, okay, so you can go, so once you've done that, then you can go and or not, you can put any of those combinations and put that in there. Then you can put with media type equal to videos and created between this date to this date and a classification equal to this and with a sublocation equal to this and a call number between. So this is a very advanced search. So for the die-hard librarian who understands and knows her collection, this would be the way to go, is to do an advanced search. And then you can just go and click on search, and guess what? There's your results, okay? So that's a very, very powerful way for, first of all, any person that comes to your collection, whether it's a teacher and or a student or a parent, to be able to do a valid search that does what we call is a weighted search. That's a Google kind of search. Okay, and that's why people are more likely to use your collection to search because of relevancy. We will give them relevant results. However, everyone, including the librarian, even the person who says, no, that's not what I really wanted, anyone on your system can come down and they can go, I want to do an advanced search. And they can then change that around any which way they like. So if you have a look, all cats have Asperger's syndrome. So if you turn around and say, all right, no, that's not what I want. I want to be able to say, no, I want anything, any keyword with the word cat in it, and then go search. So that's doing a traditional search. It's basically bringing it up with every record that has cat in it. And you can say, order by title, alphabetically by title, and then go search, and now that's going to give you, okay, remember numbers come before letters, okay, and it'll give you all your, and then you can just go load more, and load more and load more, and you can just keep going on in there and looking at the collection. Okay, very, very simple. So you get the best of both worlds, the traditional search as well as a weighted relevancy search. So when we're talking about searching the collection, it's very, very important to know what is available for you as a SmartSuite-Library user. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about how do I implement discovery. In other words, all right, I want my students to discover certain topics or authors or subjects or certain material based on a particular criteria. Okay, so let me give you a good example. When we talk about discovery search, is people just register their interest, and then as the collection grows or shrinks, they keep getting updated with material as it gets added to, as the bibliographic records get enhanced, and as material gets deleted in the system. There's nothing more annoying than getting a list of material only to discover that this was there. So like if I sent you a list of all these books on the system based on CAT, so let me just go and do a search. So if I sent you a list of all these books with CAT as a relevancy search, okay, just go more, and then you do another relevancy search there. So as you keep going along and doing a search of all this material, and what happens is that this particular book, Cat Haiku, gets deleted out of the system. Okay, you want to make sure that that particular item is no longer available on that particular list that they're doing. So we want to make sure that if we give them a list and tell them go and search for cat and you'll get everything that you want on the system, we want to make sure that they are absolutely sure that if this book got deleted, or if they've got in this case they've got 15 of 18 books there, we only want to show the available. Okay, so that's called a discovery search, getting them to get updated lists every time they click a button. So I'll give you an example of a discovery search. If I go to the home page, on my home page, okay, I don't want to search, I just want to have a look at fiction. So if I click fiction, I want to discover all the fiction material that's in the system as at this instant in time. So you can create buttons about your collection. So whenever your people, your student, your teachers listed, so let's say for argument's sake, your history teacher comes to you and says, all right, library staff, can you give me a button that will bring up everything on ancient Egypt that you have and that you will possibly have moving forward? And please don't send me anything that if I click on it, it says, oh, it's no longer there. Or don't send it to me if it says 0 of 0, it's not there. I want to be able to give this list to my students and say, whenever you click, not on the list, but when you click on a search button, that it will go and discover all the resources as at that instant in time of clicking the list. So you might have created the list 6 months ago. And you can say, Justin, here's your list of all the ancient history material. And whenever you click on it, at that instant in time, you will be given an updated list. So how do we go about creating all these search results that I can put behind a button? So if I'm the history teacher, on my school's history page, I might say year 12 resources, year 9 resources, ancient history resources, World War I resources, World War II resources, war resources, the invasion of Poland resources. So you can just have buttons. And when they click on those buttons, what it's going to do, it is actually going to do an instant search at this instant in time to provide a predefined results list as at right now. And not only that, but what you can do is you can turn around and say that predefinition is going to define where these resources are and what the availability of it is. In this case, I say I've got nothing with the word adventure in it. So having that button up here, okay, so if I go to my home page, having that button up here and not having any resources behind it because you actually purged the resource, that's why it's there. However, if you added a new book that had the word adventure somewhere in the bibliography, that will come up there. Okay, now the same will be if I click on science fiction. Now, when I click on science fiction, it's going to go and try and find all the resources that have the word science fiction in it. Okay, and if it's there, it'll bring it up. And if you added a new one, it'll come up. And if you define the search to not include items that are not available for loan. So in other words, if it's on loan, don't show it. If it's not available for the student, so let's say the student is a year 9 student and this book was only for a year 11 student, wouldn't it be great if it didn't come up on a year 9's clicking on the button, but it came up for a year 12 if they clicked on the button? So that's what's so powerful about discovery and how to set up a discovery search. Okay, so the way you go about doing the discovery search is this magic little button here called advanced search. Okay, very powerful. And how many discovery buttons can you create? How big is a piece of string? Unlimited. And on what topics and what locations, what sublocations, and what creation dates, what availability or what statuses. You can create this search, discovery search, by clicking this button based on absolutely any criteria in your collection. So let's get rid of this word. So let's go ahead and now do a search. So I want create a discovery called cats resources. So if anything's got cat in it, I want it. Or if it's got in the subject area cat. So basically, if it's got cat anywhere in the bibliography, I want it. If it's got cat anywhere in the subject as well, I want it. Okay, and now I can go and create it between these dates or with a media type of this or location, whatever. So let's just check it, okay, and see what I get. So there's all my resources. Okay, now what I can do is I can create a link that'll run this search, this dynamic search, every time someone clicks on it. And then I can go to my IT department and say, Mr. IT department, on our school's library page, can I have a button that says Year 12 English Literature? Can I have another button that says History for Jan Smith's Year 9 class? And I have another button that says Fiction, Adult Reading Only, and have another button. So you can describe all of that and you can say, these are the buttons I want. I want 22 buttons or 16 buttons. Okay, these are all your discovery options. And then what you do is you tell them, I'm going to give you a link, a web link, that I want you to put behind every one of those buttons. Now, do they have to be buttons? Well, if you're a primary school, why put buttons? Kids don't understand buttons, but they understand pictures. So why not get your IT department to, instead of putting in buttons, put in pictures, okay? And when they put in pictures, you can also put those links behind those pictures, okay? And what it will do is it will run that search every time the person clicks on the button. So to get a link, once you've done all of that, my recommendation, click the search button to validate that the criteria you put on that gives you results. Once you've done that, you've got the external link button. When you click that link, it says the link has been copied to your clipboard. Now, what does that mean? Let me show you. So let me fire up Word, and I'm going to show you what this link looks like. Okay, so we'll go in here and we'll get Word, and I'm going to change the layout of my screen to landscape because it's a dirty gray big link. And in here, I'll go back to my home, and I'm going to put it a bit larger so you can read it, 14 point, and I'm going to paste that link. Now, there's that link. That's what it is. Don't try and look at it, remember it. Don't try and rewrite it by typing it. If you're going to do anything with it, just copy it, but it's already in your clipboard. Okay? So what you can do, let's say that I'm going to fire up my email, and this is a one-off request where a teacher, a teacher says, can you give me a link to a certain set of resources? Go into the advanced, check it, validate it, set it up, go search to get it, click on the external link to get the link. And then what you can do is you can open up your email, and I'm going to open up my email. So let's just get rid of that. Let's open up an email to give you the experience from the other end. Okay, so I'm going to open up my email, and I'm going to create an email to myself. So I'm going to compose an email. Okay, and it'll load up my email in a little while. And by the way, you can send this to anybody. So I'm going to send it to myself. Okay, you could have sent it to your history teacher. You can send it to a group of students doing history. So you say, year 12, here is a discovery of all the cat resources. Okay, and students, you can click this link anytime, anywhere to bring up the current list of these resources. Okay, and then resources, and then all you do in here is you just go paste, and there's the link. Okay, don't worry about the link, you just paste it in there and go send. Okay, now if that link was put behind a button or a picture, this is or you send it them as an email, that's how it looks like. But watch what happens when you click on the link or click on the picture or click on the button. When you click, this is what the system's going to do each and every time at the instant. So the result may not be the same from yesterday to the day before to the day before, or even going into the future, because this is going to show them what is current as at the instant of them clicking that list. So you can create these discovery buttons based on any number of criteria that you want. Okay, so that is a fantastic way to introduce discovery for your students. And there's nothing stopping you from doing a little library training for your students on how to create their own discovery links that they can share amongst their classmates. So if they're certain students that are all doing English literature, well, why not give them this YouTube video link on how they can create their own discovery link? Anybody that has access to the system can create their own discovery button, so they never have to remember all the convoluted searches they did or need to do, because it's all now set in a URL. Okay, now we're going to do a different kind of a discovery link, and this discovery link, this is dynamic. So if I deleted Seal Boy, okay, so let me just go ahead and go in here, all right, and go edit that record. Remember, it's called Seal Boy. That's the title of that book. So I've come along, and this book has now been brought to the desk to be loaned. Remember that picture, Seal Boy? And of course, the book looks shocking. And I go, oh, look, Justin, I can't lend you that book. It looks terrible. The pages are missing. So you just go ahead and delete it, okay? delete. Yes. And that book has now been deleted out of the system. Okay. Now let me go back into my, let's go back here. Remember Seal Boy? Right. Let's get rid of it. And let's go back in here. And we've got Seal Boy here. Let me just do a blanket search so it brings up what's in the collection. And bearing in mind, just every time you load the OPAC and do not do a search, that in itself is a discovery. And the discovery is it's showing you everything that's new as at the last click of the OPAC page. Okay, so that was the very latest item that was added. That was the second latest, third latest, and of course it's discovery. It's a discovery of new items. Okay, and as you keep rolling down, it'll go to the oldest. And if you scroll long enough, maybe in about 2-3 days time, if you keep scrolling, you'll get to the very first record that was ever added into the system. Okay, now remember Seal Boy. So here's my link and there is my URL, and I've just got just the normal new discovery page. So if I go here and I click that link, remember Seal Boy, click that link, let's have a look. I'm expecting Seal Boy not to appear because it doesn't exist. So I'm not giving them a fictitious list of things that's going to disappoint them so that when they go in, that they're going to find the item. This page is not refreshed. Okay, so let me just go back. Did I refresh that page? Because it was cached by my Windows. No. Let me just go in here. Seal, no dog was, so Seal Boy is not there. So my OPAC has not refreshed. It'll refresh in a minute and Seal Boy will be off. So that's something that we need to investigate, that the OPAC is refreshed instantaneously. We'll come back to that in a minute, okay? And we'll run that through in a second. Now, in regards to doing a list where, like if I click on Seal Boy and then it doesn't come up, that's because this would have been deleted, okay? And of course, that's not happening now because I've just got a bit of an issue I need to have a look at in a minute. But the other option to discovery is to give them a fixed list. And a fixed list is when a teacher comes to you and says, I've got a student that's really into history. Can you recommend some books on World War I that I can recommend they look at? Or you can say, I've got a kid that just loves reading. Can you give me a list, a discovery list? In other words, a static list. So you can go to your list builder and in your list builder, go new list and give it a name. And so we'll call it history. History. For year 12, and I'll go create that list. Okay, so there's my list and I'll go quick add. Now I can do a search, history, okay, and I'm looking at these books, looking at the history of the theater. Yep, that's one. There it is. And then I'll go down here and I'll go the history of punishment. Yep, that's another one. And the 100 people who made history. Yep, that's another one. And now that I've got a static list, if you delete this item off the list, okay, on just like the other one search that we did, it will still appear on this list. Okay, but when they click on it, like the other screen, it'll be going around and round and round and round trying to find a record that's been deleted, and it won't come up. But it will let them think that it's on the list. So this is a static list. Now, if I want to share it with my students, I just click that share, and then I put in the email address of all the students I want to share it with, and I go share. However, let's say for argument's sake, I've got my class that has 30 kids, and I've broken them up into 3 groups of 10. And I want to create a list for group 1, a different list for group 2, a different list for group 3 on the topic, and I add all my resources. And by the way, you can also add YouTube resources and you can add website resources as well to this list. Okay. Now, if you've created a static list and you want to share it with the 3 groups of 10 each, and you can say, kids, I'm going to give you a list of resources to start you off on your research, but you can add more resources later. So all you do is you go to the static list and you go, it's a collaborative list. Now, everyone that you whose email address you put in there and then you go and share it, they will get the list, but they have the freedom to also search and add additional items to the list. So when they come down, they can go ahead and add additional items to the list, but that list will only be appropriate to the group that you gave this list to. So if you've got 3 groups, the other 2 groups would not get any material that was added to the collaborative list. So that's what we mean about a collaborative list, which is static. Okay, it's another form of discovery, and we put that in for the users that just want a list. They want to be in control of the list. Okay, it's going back to the Yahoo kind of search engine days. All right, where they just had buttons all over the place and pictures all over the place and articles all over the header page. And when you clicked on that, it gave you information that was outdated, which is totally different from a dynamic discovery. Okay, and the dynamic discovery will actually go and execute that search, and it will go ahead and only bring up the resources that are there. Okay, and this resource, the OPAC on my machine, I've just been told, is updating every 20 minutes. But most schools, OPACs updates every 2 to 3 minutes. So if I click on Dog Wars, there's my bibliographic. If I Dawn Hawk, there's my bibliographic. If I click on Seal Boy, remember I deleted it? It's just going to stay there and go round and round and round. However, because your system updates faster than mine, okay, this book will not even appear on that list. Okay, it just will not be there. So that's the advantage of a discovery search. And the discovery search and the setting up is you can go in here and you can say, you know what, I'm going to do a search of my collection. I'm going to bring up the resources. I'm going to click on that, get an external link for that item, and then go ahead and show it to all the people. Okay, so that's how we work with making sure that you understand that searching in SmartSuite is very powerful, and there is a way to do a live search and a weighted search as opposed to a discovery search. Thank you very much for getting involved in this. Why not go ahead and create a whole bunch? You know, you keep getting requests from students who are doing a particular assignment all the time, and then you go do a search, and then you give them a list, you do a search, and you give them a list. The next one comes, you do searching. Why not just create one URL and say, kids, this is the URL, I'll email it to you, or I'll email it to your class teacher, or I'll email it to your year group. And just email it to them, or put it in your learning management system. So all they need to do is click on it, and they don't need to bother you, so that you can spend more time creating discovery for your collection. Thank you very much.